What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Dak Chats. That is very abrupt, very much not what I was wanting. This probably sounds terrible. I am sorry about that. We're going to stick with that. Nope, that's still more than what I wanted. Oh, okay. All right, I apologize if I just absolutely murdered your ears. Let's bring that down a little bit more. I want you to be able to hear me and not see that at the same time. We'll stick with that. You guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me all right. We keep trying different things. We keep trying different setups, but we're gonna rock with this and see how it goes. I like this so far. You can't see, but I do actually have some blue. I need to get some RGB because I'm gonna get it all set up over here. Anyway, what is up, guys? What is up? What an episode we had tonight. One thing I will say right off the bat, I think this just proves my point, at least to me anyway. I love 2-hour episodes. I think you can get away with the 1-hour episodes just fine, Sunday and Wednesday episodes. But Thursdays, there's just so much to pack into it. You've got to have at least, you have to have a 2-hour episode on Thursdays. I really feel like the way the game has shifted, they really want to have as much of the, of all the extra filler stuff that they love having. They're going to include all of that. So if you're going to keep all of that, you got to have a 2-hour episode. That being said, I don't want to sound like, beggars can't be choosers, but this 2-hour episode was something. For everything that they could have put in it, what little that they ended up putting in it, I was a little bit dissatisfied with. Why is my video so laggy? I wonder what that could be. All right, let's see here. Hopefully this doesn't mess anything up. Let's see. Hopefully that's better. I don't know if it will be. No, it doesn't look like it. But we'll keep messing with it and see what we get here. Anyway, guys. Did you guys have fun? Did you guys enjoy tonight's episode? We're just going to have a little bit more of a chill stream. I'm trying not to take as many notes and just kind of absorb the episode and just kind of chat and just talk about it freely. So that's what we're going to do here tonight. It was an interesting episode. Definitely unlike anything we've seen before. That is very true. I haven't seen nothing like this type of twist before, and I am here for that. I am all here for it. Let's have something new. If we're gonna keep saying season after season that, they keep introducing twists and none of them fit, and then we end up having twists that they keep saying, oh, we've never had anything like this. We've never had anything like this. Every season. They're like Chris Harrison saying it's gonna be the most dramatic season of The Bachelor ever, and it never is. I mean, there's a few times that was true, but they say it every season to the point where it became a meme, and that's kind of how it is with these twists now. They keep talking so much about it that at this point it's like, well, we know that, anything that you throw at us, there's elements that we've already seen before. This is not that. This new house split twist, I don't even know what to call it. I mean, I guess you would just call it the house split. That's all I can think of, really. I keep trying to think of like a better way to refer to it. That's the only thing I can think of. It's very watered down. That's the only thing I can think of, though, is split house. Anyway, but so yeah, we really haven't seen anything like this, and a lot of the speculation was turned out to be true. I gotta say, I'm not, like I said last night, like I've been saying for a while, this could go really good and it can go really bad. And so far, this may not go very good. They took the worst possible route to accomplish this twist. They thought, how can we screw this up the most? And that's exactly what they did. I'm wearing my thinking cap right now because I need all the help I can get trying to walk myself through and figure out what exactly is going on, because what I don't understand why they like sabotaging their own show, because they're wanting more ratings. More drama creates more ratings, and the way they play this stuff out, it's just not adding up to a lot of drama. So we'll get there. We'll try not to rant too much like we did last night. We did kind of get a little bit off topic, and we went far down the rabbit hole. So we're going to start from the top tonight, guys, and we will work our way down. So initially tonight, we see Michael is talking to Kyle, and he's saying, look, some of the others, they're kind of starting to want to go after Alyssa. Taylor's really pushing for it because of the whole veto thing, and Michael doesn't like it. He doesn't agree with the reasoning, but he's like, that's kind of what they're planning. Kyle's a little irritated. Not just that Alyssa is the one being targeted, although that's probably what's fueling most of this. He doesn't like that they keep flipping the vote without his knowledge. They basically keep saying that, the votes flipped 3 times now. It started with Terrence, or the target has. It started with Terrence, then we went to Indy, and now we're at Alyssa, and he hasn't been part of any of it. And he is a little bit frustrated with that, and he's starting to see a bit of a divide from his perspective. Anyway, he's seeing a bit of a divide, and he is going to notice it, and it's not the first time that he mentions it tonight. So he talks about how it doesn't make any sense to take Alyssa out. That's not true. He at least should be self-aware enough to realize that while he doesn't want to be targeted for being in a showmance, he's very clearly seen, the two of them are very clearly seen as a couple, as a showmance, and they are definitely grouped together. So that puts a huge target on his back. So he can't, like, he may not want that to be the case, but it is. So you have to be aware of it and try and make changes to adapt it, right? So yes, there is plenty of reason to target Alyssa if you're in the leftovers, because you want Kyle to have all of his loyalty be going to you, not his showmance. So I wouldn't say there's no reason for Alyssa to be targeted, but definitely the reasons that they have come up with, especially on Taylor's side, I personally didn't really like. Any reason can be used to go after someone, right? We said this early in the season. We actually talked about this, how it doesn't matter who, what their reason is for whoever they want to put up. The HOH has the power. It doesn't matter. It's their choice. They can put up whoever they want. And you have to respect that ability, at least on, the lower level, right? That being said, from a strategic perspective, again, it's not, at least from what we're seeing, and again, I haven't caught up with the feeds, and we'll touch back on that later, but I haven't been staying too caught up on the feeds, so I'm getting mostly of a episode edit perspective this week, but all we're really hearing is she's mad about the trip thing, and yeah, definitely not a smart move for Alyssa, but still, I mean, that's the only reason she was saying. Now, she did make a point, and we did hear this on the feeds from some of the updates I was hearing. Taylor had been talking a little bit about the fact that, look, I picked her. I had house guest choice. I drew her, and I was wanting her to play for me. And instead of taking the veto and trying to win the veto, after I pulled her, told her I wanted her to help me use it to pull Indy down, whether she wanted to or not, and then decided to completely, oh yeah, thanks for choosing me, now I'm going to steal this trip from you. Like, again, it's a very valid point, especially from the veto perspective. If you don't care about the trip, all you care about is, I want the veto to be used, and I drew your name, and you didn't actually go for the veto when I drew your name to help me for the veto. Very, very reasonable, in my opinion, for that to be your reason to to go after her. Hi, Mona. Thanks for stopping by. And hey, Jump. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for joining the stream. I don't know why it's lagging like that. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to work on that a little bit. But anyway, so again, that reasoning I get, but at the same time, she also didn't go for the veto when she could have. She could have taken it from Indy, and she didn't. She didn't do it. So yeah, she does have a little bit of a reason to, in my opinion, a little bit of justification in that sense. But on the flip side, you clearly didn't care about it enough either because you didn't go for it either. So trying to play both sides of the coin, but whatever. And I am, just so you know, I am keeping tabs on the feeds. So I will let you guys know if the feeds come back before the stream ends. We'll talk about what we're seeing, but we'll give a spoiler update because this is obviously a lot more intensive than most spoiler updates. So if that's something you don't want to be aware of, then by all means, we'll let you know by then, and you can tap out. That's fine. But we are just kind of being aware of what's going on. So we'll let you know with that. Crazy Mad says, do we know who the groups are yet? Nope, we do not, Crazy Mad, unfortunately. And that's another thing from the edit perspective that I'm like, okay, we spent so much time. Just cut out the what is it, the skip whatever the name of that stupid Taylor and Joseph's deal is. It made like 3 or 4 minutes of airtime. Most of it was spent on indie stuff, short and indie stuff. You don't even have to show Taylor and Joseph's punishment. They've done that before. There's been past seasons where they've played in that comp, that veto comp. They've had punishments, and we don't even see it, and it's just alluded to. And even if Julie wants to ask them, she'll even straight up say, so we didn't see it on the live episode, but there was a punishment. How did you enjoy that? They could totally address it. They knew that the audience knows it was going to happen just because we heard them talk about it on the veto episode when they got the punishment drawn. So they can still address it, cut some of that time, and we could have totally had time for the stupid schoolyard pick. I mean, they're botching this so hard, and we can't even see who the picks are going to be, right? And my whole thing with this twist is don't give them a chance to plan this out to their advantage. Well, you're already giving them that advantage by letting them draw the players themselves. On top of that, you're giving them time to think about it when they had no idea this twist is coming. You really had the potential to throw these people for a loop and get tossed it to the side. I'm getting ahead of myself, and I can't help it because I'm so frustrated at the way they did this because it could have gone much better. And it could have gone much better, and it's not. So at least not from the conception idea. But again, we'll touch back on that more later. Taylor is going to get a little bit frustrated with Kyle because, listen, I'm trying to make a big move, and Kyle, he's getting in the way of my big move. Fair. You have an alliance member, you're trying to make a move, and it would be a bigger move, in my opinion, than getting out Terrence or Indy. But it's not, again, the reasoning that she's using, it's not really helping her out from a strategic perspective, but that's how she wants to do it. So Michael talks about how, listen, he can tell that the leftovers, there's going to be a split, and he wants to be in the middle of it. He knows that there's going to be war. He wants to center himself right in the middle. Mona says, Alyssa and Kyle are already disappointing. Then Taylor's HOH was disappointing. We need some stuff to shake up and give us some gameplay. Yep, and that's exactly the opportunity they had with this twist, and they completely botched it. At least in the planning, who knows? They might luck out. They keep trying to sabotage themselves with, most of the time, the twists themselves are stupid. The only time that they have a good twist in its conception and what its potential, they completely botch it too. So they're sabotaging themselves again. But, that's how production is. She says, that getting all aggro, BB, you see what you did. Listen, it's fine. I was excited. It's my fault. I knew better than to get excited. I did. I knew better than to get excited. I got excited, and this is where I'm left with. See, I told you guys Thursday that this had the potential to go very wrong, and I have very low hopes for it. And then I got my hopes up, and look at what they did. But again, it is 100% my fault. I don't even blame them, because I'm pretty sure that in their contracts, it's now part of their job to beat the show into the ground until no one watches it anymore, and they can remove it off the air. I don't know if maybe Julie Chen has someone casting some type of magic spell that's keeping her there, and the only way to break the spell is to get the show off the air without canceling it outright. If the viewership drops enough, then they can do it. I don't know what the reasoning is, but it's stupid. It's very, very stupid, and I am tired of this, the way that they do this. But anyway, Turner is, he says he's fine with Alyssa staying, but he's going to let Kyle do all the talking because he doesn't want to get his hands dirty. And there is more, there's more, I'm sorry, I'm laughing because my 1.5-year-old son is yelling from the other room, calling for me, and he only recently figured out how to do that. So I can't, I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's quite funny. But anyway, we will. I don't like talking about the romantic involvings, or the scandalous, or honestly, I like to avoid the controversial stuff too. We're going to touch on some of that later, but I like to avoid talking about it as much as possible, because that's not the aspect that I like to talk about, but it's part of the show. So we're going to try and get through this as quick as possible. But essentially, I think it was, and anyone that's watching, if I get any of these facts wrong, put it in the chat. Let me know, because I definitely might get these wrong. So basically, I think it was the night before the veto ceremony, Kyle and Alyssa finally cemented their relationship in a way that could result in new human being born, and it was done. There's pool floaties involved from the Have Not room and all that stuff. Basically, Alyssa talked to Turner right after that happened and told him. And because she said Kyle's acting weird, I don't know what's going on. So he basically tells Kyle, she told me, and then he basically realizes that, listen, we can't use the veto because there's no way that Kyle can do that, get involved with Alyssa in that way, and then turn right around, use the veto on someone on the block, and end up having Alyssa go up when he was the one that used the veto to pull someone down. Turner realizes that he doesn't feel comfortable doing that to Alyssa. He still agrees at some point she's got to go, but not this week and not in that aspect. Turner very much pulling through for Alyssa in that aspect. So that's later in the episode when we see that Kyle and Alyssa are talking. Alyssa's upset at Kyle. It's because he basically said the day after, hey, after they first connected in that way, that, hey, we should probably keep our distance. We don't want to be tied together too much. And that really upset her, obviously. And she wasn't sure what to make of that. And so she got really upset by it. And Kyle still neglects to inform her about the leftovers, which would solve all of his problems at this point. I feel like, because it's the leftovers are expired, and I don't know. At this point, that's really all the best shot he's got, in my opinion. So that gives you a little bit more insight into what was going on with that. Monty talks about how, he can see that with Kyle, the alliance doesn't seem as important to him, and that he keeps putting Alyssa over the alliance. The needs of him and Alyssa over the needs of the alliance, starting to make him a little nervous about that. Michael, they're all having a conversation, and they basically know, Taylor finally is like, okay, so Alyssa and Terrence, we'll keep them, we'll drag them till the end, and they'll be the last two before the leftovers. And she seems very annoyed by having to have that conversation, because that's not what she wanted. You can see it clear on her face. And by the end of the conversation, Michael basically was like, look, not everyone here knows what's up. Everyone's just playing nice. No one wants to be the one to say it, but they all know that, they're all just kind of hanging out, acting like all kumbaya, but every one of them knows this is done. Like, I mean, maybe not at that point, not entirely done, but there's going to be a split soon, and they don't want to be on the other side of that. Let's see. Mona, don't let him or her start at 1. Start them at 2. I don't know what's going on. Episodes. Yeah, I missed that. Crazy says, season. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, talking about starting at season. Yes, I would agree 100% with Crazy Mad, that if you're trying to hook someone into the show, I wouldn't start them with season 1. We even kind of get a little bit of that tonight with Julie. Season 1 of Big Brother was, I mean, yes, the general, like, literally the foundation is there, but other than that, it's an entirely different game. And they really changed. Like, Grodner came in season 2, and to Grodner's credit, she turned it around and made it into something watchable, because season 1 was not watchable. So she did come in and take care of that. So yes, I would agree with Crazy Matt on that. If you're wanting to start someone in, don't start them at season 1, start them at season 2. But I wouldn't even start there. Like, there's a couple of, I don't have a list off the top of my head. There are other seasons that I would start out, because Big Brother, I mean, you can just tell them, hey, start here. Like, that's how it was with me for Survivor. I grew up around Survivor. It wasn't nearly as big of a deal as Big Brother in my house. I talk about how when I was younger, my mom and me stayed with my grandma and grandpa, and my grandma and mom watched a lot of Big Brother. My grandma kind of watched Survivor off and on, and I kind of watched it. It was around, but I didn't really pay attention to it. So I got to, I think it was like the first time I ever really watched Survivor was, I forget which season, but whichever season Fabio won. And I just happened to watch Tribal Council because it was on. And then from then on, I watched. And I went back and after a few years and rewatched a bunch of past seasons. So it's the same thing with Big Brother. Like, you don't have to start them. I wouldn't even start them at season 2 personally. I mean, you do have an advantage because, it's Dr. Will and he's the winner. And that is a great perspective to have. But you still kind of lose a little bit of the context. I mean, the entire jury got to go home, watch the episode, watch shows that aired, and voted based on knowing everything. So there's a lot of different things to go about that. For me, if I'm trying to get someone hooked into it, I don't start them with season 2. To be honest, I know I probably get a lot of flack for it, but I actually usually turn people on to season 16, because if you can get people introduced into the show itself, and season 16 was where the show really took a turn from being a lot more strategic and switched to being kind of a pop culture type of thing, or trying to force it. They were really trying to get in kind of the Bachelor groove, and it didn't quite take off the way they were wanting. But that is what did attract a lot of people into the show. So, starting people at season 16, I think, is a really good option. And then from there, I kind of go back to 14. 14's probably my favorite season, if I'm being honest. I love 14. Dana's my favorite player, and watching the masterpiece unfold that was season 14 was beautiful. And it was also one of the first seasons. It was the first season that I actually really started watching the live feeds too. So while I didn't watch nearly as much as I do now, I didn't have nearly as much of a understanding for the game as I did back then. It definitely helps a lot it definitely was a lot of fun watching back then, and then going back in retrospect. Um, Jump says, I agree. Honestly, would help him a whole lot right now with her. Exactly, because the leftovers know that Kyle's not with them, right? They know that he's with Alyssa. He's made that very clear at this point. So if he would just tell her what's going on, and depending on how this week unfolds, or these weeks unfold in this next week, whatever, depending on how the two games unfold this week, he might end up having to. It might be at a point where it's like there's nothing else to do. I got to bring her in and let her know. Also, she's been lied to so much at this point now, where I'm like, I don't know why she would even have any interest in sticking around. But that's on her. She probably will. Yeah, but I agree. It really should be. He really should tell her. Poor Floaty. Yeah, Robbie. Poor Floaty. I don't remember season 1 or 2 myself. Yeah, like I said, the first season I remember, I think was season 4, was the original Twin Twist, and I have a very specific memory watching the twins. I was super young, but I specifically remember watching the twins get revealed live to the rest of the house, and that's a much early childhood memory of mine. Crazy says, personally, I always tell people to start at 10 with the best player to ever play. That's a very good choice. I can't disagree with that at all in any way. Again, I usually start at 16 and try and get them into the show itself, and then kind of get them focused on that aspect. But anyway, again, season 10, a great option. Mona says, I had said that my daughter is fed up with the last few seasons and suggested that we go back and watch the beginning. Her idea. That's awesome. I think it's great, going back and rewatching the old seasons. That's kind of what I tend to do. And I feel I might have said this already. That's one thing I've been thinking about doing during the off season, is start going back and kind of rewatching old seasons. And we'd kind of do it in like weeks. So not like each episode, but each like 3 episodes, and kind of just recapping the week. I know some people have already done that, but I think that'd be kind of fun to kind of go back and do it as if it's going live. So that might be something we do. And yeah, it's really good. Jump says, same for me. I went back and watched after watching season 8. Yeah. So, I mean, you can just pick up whenever and just go back. And it's a lot of fun, especially even if you've already seen those seasons, right? You can go back and completely recover, and you see whole new things. Most of the Survivor, when I was watching those seasons, I already knew who the winner was, because just looking stuff up, trying to find the seasons, it was right there. So I wasn't able to get away from it as much as I wanted to. But yeah, I mean, you can just pick up whenever. And as long as you don't watch season 1 after you have watched everything else and you don't really have anything to watch. And I'm talking watch all of BB Can before you go back and watch season 1 Big Brother. It does introduce you to Chicken George, so that's one thing. If you like Chicken George, he was an all-star in season 7. So I feel like I've heard he might have upset some people. I don't know. I don't know if he has. I haven't heard anything about that, but I kind of saw something. Robbie says, I think younger people would get bored with seasons 1 through 7. Yeah, just because it's not as flashy as especially 16 and on. Like I said, they really just completely kind of changed how they marketed the show at that point. 16 is a good one too. That's my second best player ever. Who do I have as my second? For me, I think it's Will, Dan, and then Derek. I don't care what anyone says. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I will die on the hill that Derek is a very good player, and season 16 was a very good season. There's a lot to hate about season 16, by all means. I do not deny that at all. There's a lot that's hard to get through, but it is one of my favorite seasons, to be honest. And it was kind of at a point where I started losing a little bit of interest, and a lot of people had, because season 15 really just kind of wrecked a lot of what people liked about the game, and with how heavy the twists were, all of the controversy that was going on, it really kind of ruined it. So season 16 kind of rejuvenated that for a lot of people. And so, yeah, I had quite a bit of fun with it, and I will not apologize. Sorry, not sorry. Unpopular opinion. I love 16, and I love Derek. I do. He's an awesome guy. I love him and Cody's podcast, by the way. If you guys have not heard The Winner Circle, go check it out. It's great. I love listening to them. And then Jump agrees with Robbie about seasons 1 through 6. Says actually season 6 was good with Janelle and Kaser for the first time on the show. Yes, and that was really fun too, watching them. I remember watching lightsaber duels. I remember all the way back with Janelle talking to, and any of you that did watch season 6, if you can remember her name, go ahead and let me know. But there was a girl opposite of Janelle that they didn't get along with, and I remember because she was a lesbian, and I remember them talking about how they both. I remember listening to a conversation about them connecting about both wanting to experience pregnancy. I'm telling you, like I have not gone and rewatched season 6 in a very long time. I probably haven't seen it since it aired, to be honest. I don't know why I haven't gone back and rewatched it, but I really need to. That might be one of the first ones we do. So if I'm right on that, give me some props, because that is the furthest back of the filing cabinet that I can go. Yvette, yes, Yvette. Her and Yvette. Yes, that was. I remember watching that conversation as it went on. I love going over that. One time, real quick, I just gotta mention this. When I was in 8th grade, I had this teacher who, one of my favorite teachers, and he was a huge Big Brother fan. He was almost on the show. He got to the preliminary rounds with his at the time wife, then ex-wife, and it was season, I think it was 5, Battle of the Exes. Am I wrong? Was that 4, 5, or 6? One of those. 4, 5, or 6, and it might have been 4. And he was almost on, him and his wife. I think they both almost, or at least he was almost on, and he was a huge Big Brother fan. And that was back during season 13, and literally every day at the end of class, me and him would nonstop talk about Big Brother. And it was one of the first times that someone outside of my family actually watched. I loved it. It was so much fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Where do we leave off? Mona says, I hear you, Robbie. However, she is already a watcher. She is kind of wanting the origin story of BB and see how it has changed. Now that's different, because if you go, by the way, since I got more people in here, let me know if the audio is good. I have it positioned different, and I keep trying different things and trying to see what works. So let me know if y'all can hear. But anyway, yeah, Mona, I definitely I agree with that. That's a kind of a different situation. She was big into BB. By all means, if you're kind of looking at it as a study of the show and of the game, by all means, go back, start with season 1, and watch how. Because even like we said, Jolie mentioned it tonight. They tried having America vote for the winner, and it didn't work. I've never seen BB Brazil. I would probably say that game is something else, and they just kind of call it Big Brother. It might have certain aspects that, it might have HOH, it might have veto, but if you have America voting for, I believe she said on the feeds at one point that they also vote for who goes home. Now, I might be wrong about that, but even just the winner, that irks me. That's just, it doesn't work in my opinion, but I would love to go over old season Survivor too. Yep, and we if we did do that, we would definitely do that as well. We would probably because usually, I don't know, I didn't catch the premiere date of Survivor. I don't know if it overlaps with Big Brother, the finale, or what, but because we will be covering Survivor as Survivor goes. We might do one episode a week covering the past Big Brother, and then one episode a week doing Survivor. And then after Survivor ends, we might go back and rewatch old seasons of Survivor. Could be a lot of fun. Crazy says, you should think about starting a Discord, and you can watch the seasons on there. YouTube will strike you. Really? Okay. Well, I don't know about doing like a watch along. I was kind of almost like a book club or a movie club type thing, just have we all can kind of rewatch it together. We all kind of know what we're doing, and I'll let you guys know what the plan is for that week for what episodes to watch, and we'd all kind of watch it and then have a stream discussing it. So that's probably what we would do there, but who knows? That's still early idea. So we'll definitely keep thinking about some different options there. Robbie says 26 years from now there should be a BB50 senior all stars with all my old school favorites with competitions like pickleball, croquet, dominoes, gin, rummy, and jigsaw puzzles. I don't know what gin rummy is. That'd have to be like a different type of season. That'd have to be like a celebrity Big Brother or Big Brother over the top. That'd be kind of interesting to see. I'm not opposed to seeing it as one of those mini seasons. I'm not opposed to that at all. Crazy Matt says 16 had great characters with Donnie, Frankie, Zach, Derek, Cody. They did have great characters. Now I know a lot of people didn't like Frankie. There's definitely certain aspects that I didn't like about Frankie. Sometimes I loved him. Sometimes he got on my nerves. But he did really good. And I mean, being able to come in there he was not, I'd never heard of him. I'd heard of his sister, but I never heard of him. So he kind of had celebrity status. Kind of didn't. But the fact that he was able to fly under the radar that much, it was very impressive for the time. And he did definitely do a lot. Now, I have heard a lot of conspiracy theories about they heard that Caleb was going to throw that Battle of the Block comp, and so they knew that they had to be prepared for that, so they adjusted the comp. I don't know, but I'm still going to give him credit for winning that. And yeah, so there were a lot of great players. Zach was another one that I was like, half the time I loved him, half the time I couldn't stand him. Always loved Donnie, loved Derek from the get-go. And season 16 is where it really started, like strategy and everything really started to stand out in my mind. It kind of, I started getting a taste of that in season 14, but season 16 was really when I started to appreciate it. I started to notice it in 14, but I really started to appreciate it in 16. Marines hated season 16, loved Donnie, but the rest was so boring. I have to say, I understand that opinion. I do understand where you're coming from, but I do gotta disagree. I do gotta disagree. Says season 6 was the best. Season 6 was awesome. Robbie says, I think that enough time has gone by that another twin twist. Personally, I don't care to see it. We've done it, and here's the thing. I have when I was growing up, like having TV shows and movies about twins was like a really big deal, and I was at a point where twins don't even look alike to me most of the time. So you would have to get some extremely convincing twins. I think in 17, they like the Nolan twins. They did not, in my opinion, they did not look identical enough to pull it off. That being said, Devon was just very intelligent, way smarter than a lot of people thought she was going to be, which is ridiculous because she is incredibly intelligent. Great, one of the best players that we've ever had, to be quite honest. And yes, if someone creates a petition to have her replace Dr. Will, if Dr. Will decides he wants to step down, I'm fine with Dr. Will doing it. Don't necessarily want to push him out, but if he does step down, for sure, let's give it to Devon, the jury roundtable. That is, I will sign that petition. I think she would be great at it, and I'd love to see it. But that's just my opinion. But yes, I don't know that the twin twist would work for me personally, but that's just my opinion. But yeah. So who knows? I like I said, it doesn't work for me, but maybe they could try it again, and maybe it would. Jump says ding 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 to Marine. He agrees with Robbie. So okay, maybe I'm in the minority. Who knows? I guess I am. And then everyone says audio is good. Thank you for letting me know. Marine says, I love being able to vote out house guests and BB1, just didn't like paying for it. Yeah. Oh, I'm assuming it was because the only way back then, because I think I remember in some of the later midder seasons too, you could only vote in via text, and that was back when you had to like pay for each text. So yeah, that is annoying. That's stupid. You have to. Why would you have to pay for your? Yeah, I know. Different times, it functioned differently, but yeah. Janelle would be 68. Oh, I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about that. It makes me feel old. She says the first set of twins looked a lot more like. I'd have to go back and see. I don't remember the details of their face, to be honest. But yeah. So I'll take your word for it for that. Crazy Matt says the McCrandis season was one of the hardest to watch, in my opinion. What was that? 15. 9 is also. Yeah, 9 was a rough one, too. Not only because of how awful the couple twist was. You're going in, you're signing up to play an individual game. Only one of you is going to win the money. Yet for the first half, two people, like 2 sets of 2 get nominated, and then 2 of those go home. That was ridiculous. That was stupid. Not only that, but then you had Creepy McCreep with Adam, who got sentenced to prison after because of how terrible that dude was. And the whole show, there was just a lot of creepiness going on with that dude, and not just him. So yeah, 9 was a very rough one. I think really the only difference between 9 and 15 was that around 15 it was talked about more. So really, honestly, 9 might be worse. I'd have to go back and rewatch 9. So I can't remember a lot of the details, so I would have to go back. I can't say definitively, but I wouldn't be surprised if 9 was worse than 15. Everyone knows about the twin twist now, and and that's another part for me is they would, as soon as someone even thought of it as a possibility, they would be like, oh, for sure. Because once you realize that someone is a twin of someone else, it doesn't matter how closely they look at all, you're instantly going to be able to tell them apart. Or at least be able to see that they are different. They look different somehow. So completely agree. I don't think it would work for me, but who knows? Again, we could, if we get a new production team and they try something new, then they might be able to make it work. I have absolute zero faith in this production team. All right. Jump says, yeah, it'd be crazy to the twin twist. Yeah, maybe. Marine says she's a twin, but there's no way you'd be able to full house guess. Therefore, yeah, I mean that is a little different because you're fraternal. Obviously, that probably wouldn't fool them. Although there are, if they got the right group of house guests in, they might. You might fool them. Robbie says, I think to choose, you call the different 800 number for each house guest. Oh, wow. That was, so you had to memorize, like, they did that, like, the 30-second, it's time for America's vote, and then just gave you, like, a bunch of numbers and said, hit this one for this person. So you just basically had to quickly memorize the number of the person that you wanted to vote for. I guess, is that, or I guess if it was just the winners, you're not voting people out. So if it's just the winners, then I'm kind of thinking of like a favorite house guest type thing. So you only had 2 numbers, but still, I mean, that's annoying. Jump says, perhaps twists were people who are related within one generation bloodline away. So, Jump, are you talking about like grandparent, grandkid? That's what I'm interpreting. I'm probably wrong. I probably am just too stupid to figure that out. But let me know. I'm curious where you're going with that, because I'm all for concepts of what we could do and what could happen. So yeah. All right. So let's get back to some of the episode here. Where do we leave off? So Vito. We see again Taylor's upset because he's trying to, Kyle's trying to do away with the veto, or at least their plan to use the veto, pull Indy down, put up Alyssa because she really wants Alyssa out because she stole her trip. So veto's not used. Taylor tells Kyle, I'm gonna yell at you. So she follows him into the storage room, and she yells at him. Kyle says it's weird. I'm sorry, I do have to agree with Kyle. That was weird. I didn't like it. It didn't seem. It didn't really seem like it was going to. It didn't really seem like it was going to do much from that perspective. So anyway, it felt very weird, very unnatural. Jasmine says she doesn't know why Kyle didn't use the veto. She basically is like, look, we should have gotten Monty out, and that's all it should be. So she's a little bit concerned about that. Kyle is worried about Monty, Taylor, and Joseph. So this was an interesting one. Michael, we kind of jump around a little bit. So he initially mentions that, I think it was to Michael. Michael says that he wants to get the Pound to turn on each other, basically, because he knows. Kyle basically tells him, look, think about who the Alliance was formed around. It started with me, Monty, Turner, and Joseph, and so what's my train of thought here? But basically, he tells him, listen, remember who started this, right? Remember who brought you in. That's kind of the center of the onion, right? And Michael does take warning to that. And so he does kind of take warning to that, and he's kind of like, okay, we're going to have to split these guys apart. And that's where we lead into that. So they start talking about the cookout, and Michael mentions how important the cookout was last season and what they accomplished. Michael mentions that he thinks that Kyle is worried about another cookout forming, and he thinks Kyle's worried about that, right? Michael says he doesn't see a division like that. He doesn't see that being how the cards fall. And so Michael and Brittany kind of talk, and they basically come to the realization that, look, the optics here are not good. I don't like this, and you can't just assume that because they're all the same race, or not even all. Joseph's not black, so even that, right? You can't, unless, is he half? And maybe he is, and I just don't know. But he at least is half, right? So I don't think he is. So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and correct me if I'm wrong. I do apologize if I'm wrong, but he's not even black. But they're like, just because they're all like, we can't just assume that they're gonna create an alliance based off race alone. Is basically what she's saying, and she's not wrong. Now I will say this one thing, okay? And again, any feeders that are watching, yeah, I know he's Middle Eastern. I just didn't know if he was partially black, because just basically the way they're talking about it. But here's the thing. If from the episode perspective, I've been watching the feeds, okay? From the episode perspective, what Kyle was saying, I can see, at least from what they were showing on the episode, I can see why he might think that those three people might be working together, okay? That being said, a lot of people I've been seeing are not happy with the way the episode portrayed stuff, and that what Kyle was saying was not accurate. And also, Michael himself is saying, I don't see that happening. Michael is far more observant than Kyle, so I'm going to be a lot more keen on believing what Kyle, or what Michael says over Kyle. So at least from what they're showing, how they're editing it, I can see the way they're portraying Kyle's perspective, why it might go that route, or why he might think that it's going to go that route, because it does kind of look like it, at least the way they're showing it. But I do not. I'm going to believe what Michael's saying over Kyle any day, because Michael has a much better astute view of what's going on. So if he's saying it, I'm going to believe him over Kyle, just straight up. So anyway, Brittany talks to Kyle, and she's like, look, we can't split the house like this. we can't just have all of us white people target all of the non-white people. And again, I agree. Um, so we get that. Then we start seeing a bunch of the punishments unfold, and I could have done with that a lot. I will say I loved Butt First, absolutely loved Butt First, and I did like how they had the old logo with the 24. I thought that was really cool for like old school fans. So yeah. Anyway, other than that, didn't really care much about it. Skid and Fancy, yeah, they like I said earlier, they barely made the edit, so I don't really see the point in everything they did with that. So yeah, and then we get to Jasmine's birthday, and she has everyone sit in a circle and tell them one thing at least. No, two actually. She wants two things from each person about what they like about her. And Turner says, I like that we were BB Festies or Festy Besties. And then he says, I love how unique you are, Jasmine. And she's happy. And Joseph he says, there's too many to pick from. I can't. There's just too many. So yeah. We get a conversation with Michael and the leftovers, and he's basically saying, I would like to give Indy a sympathy vote. If we're going to take her out, she's going to be really hurt by a unanimous vote, so I want to throw that out there. Joseph also mentions that he wants to do the same. And again, I did not care one bit about the fake accent. I guess that's why they felt the need to air the 30-second clip that they did of Skid and Fancy, just so that way we can understand why they have such bad accents. It was terrible. I hated it. And Joseph's is terrible, and I hate that they're making him use it just in regular conversation, and I hate that they're making Taylor do it in the DR. It's ridiculous. But Taylor says in her stupid accent that she wants a unanimous vote. So basically, everyone decides, okay, we'll do a unanimous vote. And then we don't get a unanimous vote. We do get one vote for Indy to stay or for Terrence to go. But it doesn't matter because it's a 7-1 vote, and Indy does get evicted from the Big Brother house. And then, as we've already touched on it, I put in my notes, but they kind of talk about BB Brazil. I did think it was cool that they mentioned it. And I wish they would just address BB Canada just for all the Canadians that watch it, because BBUS does air in Canada, and that's why BB Canada even exists. It'd be really interesting. But they act like it doesn't exist. That way they can steal all of BB Can's ideas, and the US audience will never know. And then in my notes, I just put, stupid twist makes people live outside all week. I cannot believe they're doing that. I can't. That sounds ridiculous to me, that they're making these people live outside. And the backyard, they've not done anything to retrofit it to make it even moderately doable. It honestly, it feels kind of abusive to me, honestly, but I won't say much more than that. So then we get to the HOH comp, and we see Michael is the winner, is the HOH for Big Brochella, while Terrence is HOH of Direfest. So with Terrence's HOH, I'm happy about that because I think it definitely gives a lot of room for shakeup. But there's who knows how far it'll take him, and the twist. I'm really hopeful for some big moves here, but we'll see. Just a quick update. As of now, we still do not have the feeds back, so I guess they're really this is gonna be a late one. But anyway, we'll find out when that comes back. So I'm excited to see how the twist unfolds, and what's able to happen, and what shakeup can happen. Who knows? Who knows how this ends up getting drawn? Because if any of the leftovers won HOH, Michael was the person I wanted to, because I feel like he's the most likely to make a stronger move. But we'll see. We'll see if he does actually do anything. I think he might, but Who knows? And then Terrence is going to be a fun one just to kind of see what he decides, although he'll probably cave to whoever can get into his ear. I don't know that he's going to make what's best for him or even really think about what could be best for him, but we'll see. But it's going to be a fun week, and I'm excited. I'm just excited to see just the logistics and how all of this ends up working. I think it's going to be fun. So with that, we'll probably go ahead and wrap the stream up because there's really not much else to cover. It's going to be a busy week, and I do plan on doing multiple streams. I'm going to work as hard as I can, make sure we get Sunday's episode, because it's going to be fun. We're going to want to talk about that for sure. So be ready to see us Sunday. And then we'll do some watch along streams. We might do some Saturday, maybe. Don't quote me on that, but we might. And depending on the rest of the week, it just might be fun to just watch. So we'll for sure be back Sunday, and hopefully we'll be able to get back for some watch alongs, because that could be fun too. Yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out. If you guys have not already, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us, helps the channel out, helps us grow and get more interaction, and just makes these streams a lot more fun overall. And if you're new and you just come across us tonight and you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button, because we've been here since the beginning and we're not going anywhere. So if you heard us earlier, we're covering Big Brother all the way to the end. We'll be covering Survivor when it comes out, and there's a lot of other stuff that we're going to be covering. And while we will go back, like we said, we probably will go back and do old seasons of Big Brother, Survivor, all that stuff. I also have some ideas of some non-Big Brother and Survivor stuff that, for some of you, you're going to love, and some of you may not. But we will always be here for Big Brother content, and that's what this channel is built around. So, but yeah, guys, that's again, if you are enjoying the stream, you're enjoying what we're doing, then subscribe and come back and watch us Sunday. Let's wrap up some more of these questions before we go. Crazy Mad says, making Terrence group Turner, Kyle, Taylor, and Brittany. That could be pretty interesting. Robbie says something about Kyle's on Caucasian. I think that was in reference to the conversation we were having earlier, and I'm not sure exactly at what point you sent that, so I can't comment on it as much as I'd like. Mona says, I like Jasmine's eyebrows. That's, yeah, cool. Robbie says she was rooting for Taylor for AFP, but the past 2 weeks I'm thinking Turner for AFP. I am too, personally, either him or Joseph. But I think Turner probably could get it. I don't know. I still think Taylor will probably get it. Runner up will be Turner, I think, and Joseph probably be behind him. Crazy Mad said, or Mona says, and that's it. Don't like anything else about Jasmine. Yeah. Well, at least pick one nice quality. And then Mona says Turner for AFP. I'm not gonna disagree. I'm not gonna say against it. Crazy Man says, Robbie, I'm over Taylor and I want Turner for AFP too. I wouldn't say I'm over Taylor, but now that she's out of the very bad horrible situation she was put in, now we can kind of start looking at her from a game player perspective. And I wouldn't say she's been making the best decisions, but that's just my opinion. Robbie says, maybe they will have to camp. Maybe. I don't know. I hate it. I hate the idea. I think it's ridiculous. Marine says Team Turner. I can get on board with that. Team Turner for sure. Robbie says the bet is tense and the porta potties come back. It definitely could. Those porta potties look real. They probably built them, but they could put a 10 in or just buy porta potties. And Mona says tense porta potties. SMDH. I do not like that at all. And then gotta go take care of that kid. So we like I said, we'll definitely see you guys Sunday night, and we'll probably see you before then, but we'll at least see you Sunday night, and we'll go from there. So thank you guys again so much for joining the stream tonight. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see you guys. Can't wait to see how this week unfolds. Hopefully Big Brother can sabotage himself, and then the sabotages itself, and we get something good, like we kind of ended up, well, no, we did end up getting from the stupid Festy Bestie that turned out to be, it was still stupid, but it helped in the long run. So anyway, but yeah, Crazy Matt says, good stream. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Sophie says, newbie here. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I'm so glad you're able to join. If you're having fun, hit that subscribe button. And anyone else, to you, Sophie, and anyone else that don't already know, right now we don't have access to community tab. So anytime we tweet out any changes to the stream, whether we have to change the time, cancel, or have an additional stream, put it there. So go follow me on DACChat or on Twitter at DACChats if you haven't already. And that way you can stay up to date on everything we're doing. And yeah, so everyone says bye. We'll see you guys Sunday for sure. Have a great night. Stay safe.